Welcome to the Fantasy's Finest Fantasy Football Podcast. Here are your hosts, William Spencer, Jalen McQueen, and Mark Carter.
Welcome back to the Fantasy's Finest Podcast. I am your host, William Spencer, alongside my great friend, Ace McQueen. Jalen, say what's up to the people, man. It's been a little bit. They miss you.
What's up, y'all? And by the way, I'm co-host.
Coming in late.
I'm not. I ain't just his friend.
Yes, you are the co-host.
I'm the mastermind behind this. Okay. All right.
Oh Lord. See, you always got to go just a little too far. You little habitual line stepper. And coming along to the show today, Mr. LP Cruz, Mr. Stonehall Studio himself. You can check out his work on YouTube. When I say there aren't a lot of people that can break down film as well as him, I sincerely mean that. Like, if I need something analyzed on film, I go to this guy because his work, immaculate. You got to check out his YouTube channel, Stonehall Studio. Mr. LP Cruz, how you doing today?
Doing good, fellas, man. Thanks for having me back. Been way too long.
Way too long.
But how y'all doing?
Not a problem, man.
What's been up?
Hey, man. Can't complain. Everything is cool on my end. Ace, you good?
Oh yeah, I'm good. My fault. I was looking at you. I'm like, yo, this man skipping up, dog. Like, no, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, see, Zencastr. We use Zencastr for our remote recording, and now it's acting funny since we ain't used it in a while. It's getting brand new.
Yeah, everybody can't.
In this episode,
internet, it's only.
In this episode, we're going to be going over: are you in or out? Some of the hot names in fantasy this off season that they've been garnering attention, whether they've been coming back from injury, whether they're having new situations at quarterback. But these players have been getting a lot of attention in fantasy circles, and so we're going to talk about a few of these names. They're kind of on the lower end, the lower tiers, but because of certain situations that have happened this offseason, they're getting a lot more attention, a lot more notice from the fantasy community. So we're going to talk about these guys. We got to go over the news. Is so much going on in the offseason, and we're catching up on some of the news since we've started late this season. So to start the show, I wanted to ask you guys, since the guys are here now, and I actually talked about this in our last episode, but I wanted to get you guys' perspective on the Tyreek Hill and Davante Adams comments, because we know that they've been traded during the offseason. Tyreek Hill is now in Miami. Davante Adams is in Las Vegas with the Raiders. So, their comments on their new quarterback situation was kind of funny. Like, Tyreek Hill, he got a lot of attention for saying that Patrick Mahomes and Tua Tagovailoa, in terms of accuracy, he would take Tua over Patrick Mahomes. And then Davante Adams kind of said that in terms of talent between Rodgers and Derek Carr, they're similar. So it's like
stupid.
I want you guys to weigh in on those two. Stupid.
Hey, tell me why you think both takes are stupid, because I want to hear it.
Okay. All right. So I'll start with Tyreek. The Davante Adams and Derek Carr comparing to Aaron Rodgers, I'm not even gonna comment on that. That's just flat out stupid. Now, but the Tua and Mahomes, I don't understand why, like, when players go to different teams, they feel the need to go back and bash the other quarterback, go back and make it seem like things weren't what they were. But I mean, let's be real. Tyreek, like, seriously, like, let's be serious, okay? Number one, I'm confused on how you can even compute accuracy when your quarterback throughout 12 or 13 games threw under 400 passes. He threw 388 passes. Mahomes threw 270 more passes than he did. And Mahomes had a 66% accuracy, where Tua had a 67.8. Your quarterback isn't even allowed to throw, really. So you talk about accuracy. That's just dumb. And then when you go to deep ball accuracy, I looked up some stats, and usually I don't reference these people, but Pro Football Focus ranking deep ball statistics, and Mahomes obviously was ranked top tier. He was like number 6, completing 31 of 69 deep balls with 7 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, 113 pass rating. Tua, on the other hand, only Taylor Heineke was worse as far as turnover worthy plays when you throw in a deep ball, which means the stats ain't really what they are. His passer rating when targeting deep was 77, was a 77 passer rating. So Tyreek Hill, who primarily is what? A deep ball specialist, right? He's a receiver
Yeah, he benefits from the
that's
deep
going
ball.
to run deep. That's not good news for you, bro. That's not good news for you, Tyreek. Your quarterback is accurate when you're running a 3-yard slant, maybe. But when you're running down the field, stats will point out that he's Taylor Heineke.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with that. I mean, the way you broke it down, I don't have the numbers to back that up, but I think we watched enough games with Patrick Mahomes, and we watch these games intently, right? And we know who he's compared to. We know what quarterback is compared to everybody in the entire NFL. The thing with Patrick Mahomes is there are moments in games, and I can tell you in particular the Chargers game last year on Thursday Night Football, where there's a guy wide open in the flat. Forgive me, in the flat, and he misses that guy.
Yes.
Now, if any other quarterback does that, even Tua Tagovailoa does that, it is national news. If Pat does it, we forget all about it.
Mm-hmm.
Say what you will about Patrick Mahomes. He's a phenomenal player. He's a great player. You and I have talked NBA before, but there's certain players in the NBA that no matter what they do, they walk on water. No matter what they do wrong, they still walk on water. Pat is that guy in the NFL, where Pat will miss a guy wide open, crossing route, ball thrown behind the receiver. Even in the Dallas game last year, he threw an interception to Jaron Kearse on a ball that was thrown behind his tight end. So it does happen to Patrick Mahomes more than we think. You look at not Pro Football Focus, Pro Football Reference. He's amongst that middle tier in on-ball percentage or bad throw percentage. He's always in that tier, that middle area of him missing throws. Is he a phenomenal passer? Absolutely so. No questions about it. But Patrick Mahomes in his career has benefited from having a lot of help around him. A lot of guys that have speed, that have a high catch radius, that can make up for some errant throws deep, whether it be deep across the middle of the field. And he's in a very, very friendly, from a percentage point standpoint, he's in a very friendly QB system with Andy Reid. So it's one thing. It's a kind of a meeting of haves and have-nots on both sides, where one guy has never had to do without, one guy until recently has had almost nothing with him. So now you look at Tua Tagovailoa and maybe his fantasy prospects. I might take a flyer on Tua Tagovailoa late based on what he has around him. Now, is Pat more accurate? Yeah, I'm sure he probably is. But I don't think Tua has had this much help around him. So he may look better by proxy of having guys like Tyreek Hill, guys like Jalen Waddle, guys like Devontae Parker. I'm sorry, Parker's no longer there. But there's a lot of help coming in. Cedric Wilson, Mike Gesicki. There's a lot of help to kind of assist him in his progression.
But not to cut you off, and then I'm gonna let you go too. But outside of Tyreek Hill, the receiver core was not bad in Miami last season, and Jalen Waddle was also a deep threat as well. Tyreek obviously is the ultimate deep threat, but Jalen Waddle is no slouch either. Now I know that's coaching staff, I know that's play calling, I know that's stuff beyond what Tua can control, but maybe, let's just say maybe, the coaches see him in practice and know that's not his strong suit. So you know what, Waddle, rather run a five out and take it and try to take it to the house. It's not. I mean,
is that not what Tyreek does in Kansas City though? Is that not who Tyreek also is?
Say that again.
Is that not who Tyreek also is in Kansas City?
It is, but the thing is as well, Mahomes can get the ball down deep. We're not sure about that with Tua. Like when I think about accuracy, I'm thinking about quarterbacks who could drop it in the bucket, tough throws. Your Mahomes, your Rodgers, your Dak Prescott's, your Tom Brady's. The list goes on. Your Justin Herbert's, quarterbacks that I could depend on. If they're going to throw the ball 30 times a game, I can expect 20 of those throws being dropped in the bucket. Tua, I don't know if that's he hasn't had the opportunity to even showcase that yet.
Let me ask this question though. He played how many games together last year where Devontae Parker, Will Fuller, who they signed in the offseason, Mike Gesicki.
Well, you said Will Fuller. I know he ain't
Waddle.
played a bunch of games.
Well, I'm saying, how many games were they healthy together? Because we do have a lot to say about Tua Tagovailoa. He himself was not healthy either, and
he
that's
played
a
12
personal
games.
problem. It's a personal thing. But I mean, to that point, it's one thing when you have your weapons available and they're present to play. He hasn't had that benefit. Now he's got a lot of help here. So as an individual thrower of the football, like you said, dropping it in the bucket deep, having this deep ball accuracy, if you're playing on the level of Heineke, we got a problem. But again, it's all about who you have around you as well. Guys that can make up for that deficiency with deep speed. And, you know, guy like Cedric Wilson, maybe they can help you out a little bit across the middle. So it's yet to be seen, I think. And I think you have some merit to what you're saying. Now, as far as why Tyreek,
what's up with all the faces, Will?
I'm just soaking it all in.
He's taking in the information.
This is why it's better to do a podcast with people outside of being by yourself, because you just get to sit back and listen to other people's opinions. And neither of you have really said anything wrong. So it's not like I'm not going to jump in like, well, you shouldn't say that.
Chaos.
But here's my thing, and it's I'm just piggybacking off y'all because I have Tua as one of my sleepers this year in fantasy. I think the addition of the addition of having Tyreek Hill.
I can agree with the sleeper though.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know, like you said, Jalen. We don't know what Tua is going to be able to do because he's never had weapons like this before. He had Will Fuller play 2 games last season, and he went out with the rest of the year on a bad finger. Devontae Parker was in and out all season. He only had Jalen Waddle and a Mike Gesicki, but now they've added, you know, Cedric Wilson, Tyreek Hill. You got Jalen Waddle, who was very nice for what his role was last year. Mike Gesicki is back. You added a bunch of running backs back there, and Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert, who are good pass catchers. You have weapons now. And conversely, we don't know what Patrick Mahomes could look like this year. Could he take a hit without having a receiver as dominant as Tyreek Hill out there now? We're going to get into that a little bit later because one of those, the wide receiver room for. I'm not saying he's going to fall off the face of the earth. I'm just saying without Tyreek Hill there, is it possible? That's all.
Yeah, right. I mean, like you said, we'll talk about it later. But I get both points. I get both what y'all both saying. But as of right now, Tyreek is speaking on right now. There's just right now no way that a quarterback who throws 270 more passes to you, he shouldn't even be in the same atmosphere as far as accuracy or completion percentage near you, and you only threw 388 passes. That right there shows me that if you extrapolate that out, I'm sure Tua's numbers look more like 62% completion,
maybe
more
than
than it does 67.
It is possible, but the one thing that I will say though, and not to interrupt anybody, but the one thing that I will say about Tua though is if you look at who his coach is now, who the coordinator is, one of the best things that guy did with the Niners was play action passing and creating space across the middle of the field. So if you want to test Tua as a passer across the middle of the field, off the play action, and maybe going deep, taking shots, you're going to see it. And you got the right guys to throw to. So however you feel about him as a deep throw passer right now in this moment, it's going to be tested tenfold by what he has around him and the coach who has his whole oversight, you know, right in the crosshair. So we're going to find out for sure. Y'all want to touch on that Derek Carr thing or not? So you guys are good on that one.
What's both of y'all thoughts on the Derek Carr and Aaron Rodgers? We can all agree that's just crazy, right?
I mean, Adams is wilding, but I'm not even going to hold you. You're going from the reigning MVP to Derek Carr. And, you know, I'm not trying to throw shade on Derek Carr, but let's be real. That's
why I hate it though, because that's what that creates. It makes you look at Derek Carr like, all right, come on, like it makes you diminish that what he's doing. And Derek Carr is a good QB.
I mean, but when
you put
you're
him in the
comparing
atmosphere of Aaron Rodgers, then it makes it dumb, and that's my point. Then it makes it dumb.
Yeah, but Devontae Adams is going to big up his guy. No, we moved on to Devontae Adams.
This fine. You can big up your guy without talking about come on, bro. Y'all play the game. They know more than we know. There's no way that you play in the game and you can tell me that Derek Carr is just as good as Aaron Rodgers. We're similar. No, they're not similar.
Did he say it? Okay, similar.
Similar. So that's like, okay, that's an example. That's like saying Superman and Homelander are similar. They are, right? They are. But there's no way you can convince me
is clearly better than the other.
Similar to Aaron Rodgers. That's what I'm saying. Make a smart comparison. So, that's not a smart comparison.
So you
Carr is more similar to Kirk Cousins.
Wait a minute.
You put Superman and Homelander in the room. Soup is coming out of there.
Okay,
he coming out of there. His costume ain't even gonna get messed up.
All right.
But it's a more accurate comparison.
This is me, all right? So you said it's stupid or it's dumb. So I'll put the dunce cap off for a second. There are some similar things about those guys, though, and how they kind of go about their way. I've been watching Carr since Fresno State. And the one thing that I said to myself, I'll never forget this, man. I was sitting up late watching quote-unquote film way back in the day. And I watched this guy play at Fresno State. And the one thing that I said to myself, I'm like, this guy moves like Aaron Rodgers. As far as the mobility, the arm strength, he moves similar to Aaron. I'm not saying Aaron Rodgers, but the way he moves, the way he likes to create outside the pocket and find guys deep down the field, he has a little bit of Aaron Rodgers in him, in his makeup. He's got a very strong arm as well. He's got a very powerful arm. And I think he was amongst the highest players last year in plays of 20 yards or more from the quarterback position. Granted, he only played with guys like Zay Jones and Deshaun Jackson for a couple of weeks. Like, he can still drive the ball down the field.
What we're not going to do is diminish Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow, though. But you ain't mentioned them, though. Those are other guys he also played with.
Are they vertical
three tight end as well.
You consider
so
is Hunter Renfrow a vertical threat to you? Is Darren Waller a vertical threat to you? Because, like I said, he's pushing the ball downfield.
No.
Darren Waller is. Hunter Renfrow, if I had the numbers, I might have some debate.
But I'm saying he still manages to push the ball down the field. Like that's what that guy does. He pushes the ball down the field with what he has, right?
But see, and that's where I agree with you, though. Because, like Will said, Derek Carr, like, it makes it seem as though we're smashing Derek Carr. That's not the case. Like, he's good. Like, Derek Carr is I think a really good quarterback. But when you compare him to another guy who is arguably one of the best quarterbacks ever to play the game, not a top five, like, people will tell you, people out there think that some people think that Aaron Rodgers is the GOAT. When you compare that to that, it makes Derek Carr look bad. That's like comparing Dak to Tom Brady. That's like comparing Michael Vick to Peyton Manning. Like, there's no similarities there.
From a perception
is what I'm saying.
It's born of this guy is so good to compare him to anyone like him is unfair. And I absolutely get it. You talk to Derek Carr, one of his favorite athletes of all time, is a person who is known to be a clone of a great player. It's Kobe Bryant, right? So Derek Carr can relate to being known as a cheap copy of somebody else for a player who's good in his own right. I'm not saying he's Kobe Bryant. I'm not saying all that. What I'm saying is Derek Carr, though, knows what it feels like to be compared to a great player that he has similar characteristics to. He's a good player, but let's not be so not defensive, but let's not be so in awe of one player that you cannot even make stylistic comparisons. Like, that's not fair either. Like, I can compare,
that's true.
I hate to cross sports again, but I can compare, Kyrie to Iverson. I'm not saying they're the same player, but they have similar characteristics. Like, it's okay to do that.
Right.
Now, as Devontae Adams say, I'm leaving Aaron Rodgers to go to Derek Carr? No.
But and now that's what I was about to say, is because
that's kind of wild.
We all know this, right? We all know the situation of he didn't want to be in Green Bay. Green Bay reportedly was offered him more money than the Raiders did, but he just didn't want to be in Green Bay. So then when you put all that into then what he said afterwards, then it looks like, all right, like you're taking
I'm justifying my words. I got to justify.
Right.
Yeah.
You're justifying your moves, which you don't have to do. And same thing with Tyreek. No. You wanted to get paid. You don't have to do that. You can say Tua. You can go in there. Tua. I'm shocked by his accuracy. He's really accurate. You don't gotta say nothing about Mahomes. You go in there, Derek Carr. Man, I played with him in college. He got that dog in him. You don't gotta say nothing about Aaron Rodgers. You don't gotta compare him.
There may be an underlying thing, and I'm not saying this is how players feel because I can't be sure of this. But I know a couple years ago in Seattle, the players did not like that all the praise and credit went to one player. Now, I don't know if the Chiefs players feel the same way, but I know that the Chiefs walked into a situation where the quarterback they brought in had a great supporting cast who does not get the shine that they deserve because of one guy getting all the credit. If Tyreek felt what he said to say, and that's how he really felt off his chest, I can't disrespect him for that because he might have felt like, yo, this guy, and mind you, like you said, right? He throws 200 more passes to me. Not all of those are on the money. It's a lot of no-look passes you probably missing.
That's true.
It's a lot of dig routes you probably missing, trying to be too cool with your emotions. So I may know something about you
which
that
we
they don't
know
know.
Mahomes to do.
Yeah, I may know something about you that the media don't want to talk about. So I don't think he's crazy for saying it.
We about
But
to get
there could be some merit.
we about to get jumped
from
by
a
Kansas
player.
City fans.
And
No, that's a good point, though.
So-
That's a good point. That's a good point.
it's always the devil you know, man, versus the
Yeah,
one
that's
that you
not going
don't.
to show up on Undisputed.
right.
Now with Nick Wright out
Yeah.
there now.
All right, and now, all right, one more topic, and then we gotta get into the heart of the show. And this happened before I came on, so I added it in. But Blogging the Boys came out with an article about Ezekiel Elliott being a possible trade option, and it bugs me because people notice that I defend Ezekiel Elliott because I still believe that he's a top 5 player, running back in the league when he's healthy. And between the argument that he got paid and he don't care anymore, or he's falling off and all this other stuff, it just irks me. And then when you get into the offseason and you see the nonsense that even comes from our own fan, and I know they have to do something to get past the time because training camp hasn't started yet. There's a lull. But it's like, if you talk about the Cowboys, yeah, I get that. But it's like, please don't put out stupid stuff. Like, why would you trade Ezekiel Elliott? Who, first of all, from a money standpoint, who wants that contract? You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
nobody. How does that better your team?
I didn't read the article. So I was going to ask you, did he have? Was there like any teams that he could possibly get traded to? Like, was it like what was within this article? Like,
no.
So it was just like this. We could possibly trade him. That's it.
You're not going to trade. You're not going to trade. No, I mean it's like one of those, what if type things. Like you could trade him, but nobody's going to take that contract because the NFL is not a proponent for paying running backs. They just don't want to do it. So to put that out there that, oh, well, we could trade Ezekiel Elliott to who? Who's going to take that contract? That's the starters. Then you got to look at the cap hit that is there if you do move him. That it doesn't make sense to do that. And then how does that better your team? Right. Are you just going to let Tony Pollard get the lion's share to work now? Because you don't have anybody behind Tony Pollard. That doesn't better your team. Right. Like, it's just, stuff doesn't make sense. And then you look at how his production was last season, the first 5 or 6 games of the season before he got hurt. He was producing. He was averaging 5.5 yards a carry. True. He was putting up numbers in the first part of the season, and then he got hurt. It's like people don't want to acknowledge that there was something that got in his way that was out of his control that dropped him off. 2020, he caught COVID. He lost Dak. He lost his offensive line. Like, people don't rationalize those things. They just look at his numbers and like, oh, well, 2019 didn't happen. 2020, he fell off, and now he's done.
But see, this is where I go left on your argument. And I love Zeke, but I also sometimes have, I don't not say nothing dumb, but I feel like last year's stats. No. I'm not. I just feel like last year's stats, for example, were kind of fraudulent in a way.
The stats were?
Now,
fraudulent.
I understand Zeke was hurt. I understand he was hurt, but the 1,000 yards that Zeke got, we're all Cowboys fans here. That did it look like a productive 1,000 yards? Like watching the games, the downs, and I'm not diminishing it. I mean, like I said, he got 1,000 yards, and I think he finished like 4th in TDs or something like that, with top 10 or whatever. But how many games have we watched this season where we needed a running game? And at the end of the game, it says Zeke got 70 yards, but it don't feel like it was 70 yards. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's not.
There's a lot of ways.
It's hard to explain.
So there's a lot of ways to approach this. Now, me personally, I'm not a Zeke guy. I'm really not a Zeke type of guy. I understand the contracts of running backs. I know the life cycle is short. But this is what happens with Zeke Elliott, though. And I'll start with the positives first. When it comes to Zeke, he will do whatever it takes to win. He will block. He will catch it out of the backfield if asked to do so. He will do whatever you want him to do.
And not to cut you off real quick. To the people saying that Zeke gave up, now that's dumb. I've never seen a play where Zeke
never quit.
Zeke never quits. Like you said, he never quits. But go ahead, continue.
So to that point, right? Like when it comes to, he kind of threw me off a little bit, but I'll be all right. So to that point, there are games like that, and I ask myself, because he does everything well that you ask a running back to do: catch, block, run the football pretty well. What Ace is talking about is we're missing that home run. We're missing that big play run.
Right.
We had one in Carolina, which is why you say it's fraud. We had one of those that I can recall without looking it up. Right? So that does exist. And then the problem is that by comparison, the guy behind you can do this almost with regularity, whether it be off a kick return, a toss play, or even like we saw in Kansas City, a fake motion, a fake reverse. So the guy behind you has that get off. He has that. Now, why you can't get rid of Zeke is because Zeke is very symbolic of, if you're a fan of the Cowboys and you're like, I hate to kind of put it like this. If you're a Cowboys fan that has a belief in an identity of a grit, a focus, you have to have a toughness mindset, you should love Ezekiel Elliott. No matter what the contract is, you should love who that guy is because the ink is dry. He's been paid. No team will take that contract knowing what running backs are. So you have to kind of live with that contract and live with Ezekiel Elliott. So that's what that is to me. And I'm not a fan of Ezekiel Elliott at all. You will not trade him. No one will take him. But you would rather have him on your team than a guy that doesn't want to play all the time, like the guy that got traded to Cleveland.
Right.
So that's what you got to live with. But he's not getting dealt. That's boredom. That's absolute boredom. He's not getting dealt. The team is on. They love that guy. They paid him. No.
Yeah, like you said, the ink is dry on the contract. I just thought it was dumb, and then you automatically check the comment section. And it's like, yeah, he need to be traded. He don't want to play no more.
Well, that's exactly why I don't
trade him for a first round pick.
Like, yeah, you can get a first for Zeke.
Right. I even had blogging the boys muted or blocked. I don't know. Either one of the two. I don't know.
They don't always do that, but it's just like when you see it,
it's a bunch
like, come
of
on,
clickbait.
Bro, really?
It's a bunch of what ifs. It's a bunch of tweet certain stuff for likes. That's what it is, and that's what you get with the Cowboys. I mean,
but who was the last running back that got traded to a team? Like when in our lifetime, when have we ever seen a running back get traded to a team?
Yeah, I don't know.
After signing a big contract.
Yeah,
David Johnson, and that was stupid too. But I'm trying to think. Like it doesn't happen. Not for a running back.
Like you said, Zeke does everything well. I wish I had Will's blind optimism sometimes, and when he's healthy. But the issue is with Zeke is history shows that he just won't be, and it's not a knock against him. He runs between the tackles every play. He's bound to get hurt. So, like, I just hope this year the coaching staff does a better job of splitting those carries. Zeke got the contract. Don't get fooled by the contract. It's okay. It's okay to have a actual 1-2 punch. It's okay if they get the same carries. It's sometimes okay if Pollard gets more carries. If anything, you're saving Zeke. You're helping Zeke. But knowing that he got hurt after week 5 and you still had him carrying that workload when Tony Pollard was back there giving you 700 yards a carry? Why? Zeke could have sat out a couple weeks. Why?
You cannot finance a car buy a vehicle, and then decide to run it down, like run the brakes all the way down, and then run it down to the rotors.
Right.
They ran Zeke down to the rotors, and they were financing that car for $90 million. That's not good business. And there's no slap in the face against Pollard. I'm sorry, against Zeke to let Pollard play something. There's
Will,
no slap
what
in
is
the
your
face for that.
issue, Will? What's your issue?
Hold on.
We don't have.
Before you answer
I
that
want to
question,
keep the
though,
show within
Will,
our time range.
Wait. Hold on. Before you answer that question, though, Will, R.E. Zeke, I'm gonna name 3 running backs. You tell me who you rather have. All right, 3 backs.
Mm-hmm.
Zeke or Dalvin Cook?
Zeke.
Over Dalvin Cook?
Only because it was Zeke brings blocking.
Yes.
Zeke is literally like another offensive line. So I feel like he brings another volume to our team.
Wow.
And Zeke's been proven to be more durable than Dalvin Cook.
Nick Chubb also?
Nah, I'll take Chubb.
It's closer. I would take Zeke.
I'll take Chubb.
That one would make me think. But I would take Zeke over Chubb.
There's no all right, like you said, we gotta keep on the time frame to show. Because I'll be arguing with you with this all day. Because there's no way you're gonna stay here and tell me you're gonna take Chubb. Like, come on.
I just said no. What I'm saying is that would make me hesitate. But how they're used, I would say Chubb is
LP,
a better runner. But where the edge,
last one. I was gonna stop right there because I was like, "Yo,
you even gonna let me?"
I was gonna stop. No, Will, wait, you take it. I had to stop. You said, "Yo," I had to stop. You said Cook. I was like, "Not Cook." All right, go ahead. You got it. Because I saw Cook go off for 200 yards last year.
Yeah, I mean, Cook is good, but if Cook is going to play 10 games, how good is that? Because he's missed substantial time. That's all I'm saying. And then when you needed him the most, he missed 4 games last season. I mean, and that was early on because I had him in fantasy. He screwed me up, and that's not. I'm not saying I hate him for that, but I'm just saying durability has always been one of his knocks. That's not a knock with Zeke, so that's why I give him the edge. But I mean, it's cool. It's cool. We can move on to that. Y'all can hate me for my Nick. Like I said, Nick Chubb will make me pause because I love Nick Chubb.
What's going to happen is, LP, we're going to have to get you going. We're going to have a straight Cowboys show based around the Cowboys because we haven't had one of those yet. We need a Cowboys show, and we need
we could do that.
3 different viewpoints about the Cowboys. We got to. But all right, go ahead, Will. All right.
We will. Let's keep it moving because we definitely need to get into the news. But before we jump in, make sure you follow the podcast at Fantasy's Finest on all our social media: Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Google, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, so many more. Be sure to follow the host. You can follow me at hype_finest. Mr. Jalen has upped his Twitter handle. He is now Mr. Black _Moscato minus the Mr. He's Black _Moscato. And LP, man, plug yourself, man. Where can they find you at on Twitter?
Yep, you can find me on Twitter at SDQ Flight Crew, over at leaguewinners.com, writing as LP Cruz, and on YouTube, as you said, at Stonehall Sports.
Yeah, okay. So now let's get into the news, cover that, and then we're going to jump right into our main segment later on in the show.
News and notes from around the NFL.
Okay, first up, Sports Illustrated's Daniel Flick believes that it's a matter of when, not if, for Falcons QB Desmond Ridder to get the starting job. Now, we know that Marcus Mariota is there. He has a close connection to head coach Arthur Smith. They played together, not played together, but he was the coach in Tennessee in Mariota's final season. A recent report from ESPN's Michael Rothstein says that he believes that Mariota is far ahead from Desmond Ridder. I know I'm butchering that boy name on the Falcons depth chart. Now, the only question I'll pose for this is, do you think that Desmond Ridder can get into the game sometime this season over Marcus Mariota? Because I'm not really convinced that Mariota is going to change his stripes, so to speak.
I don't think that it's going to be based on performance right away. If it is an injury, like we know about Mariota, he does get hurt a whole lot. I don't think that team wants to throw Ridder in the fire just yet either. But I think the history suggests that Mariota cannot stay on the field. He's not going to give you much. He's a true bridge quarterback. It's almost like starting Drew Lock or Geno Smith. Neither is really your option or long-term answer. And I'm not sure about Desmond Ridder either, but I don't think that Mariota will hold the job for much longer anyway. So it might be Ridder season earlier than you think, whether injury or performance.
Yeah, with me, little shout out to Mark here. But who cares? Because I don't.
See, this is why we got to
I
go
don't
over
care
these
about
things.
the Falcons. I don't care about Mark.
No, the Falcons are in a bad spot. I mean, if I had a choice, I would be hoping for Desmond Ridder because we already know what we're getting for Mark.
Neither one of these quarterbacks are getting drafted in fantasy.
Yeah, more than likely they're going to be on waivers.
You know what, though? When it comes to the Falcons, the Falcons are the epitome, though, of taking BPA over need. Because I think in the last two drafts, they could have taken a quarterback, but they took the best player on their board, and that's what got them. Like, they passed up on Justin Fields, could have had a quarterback, took Kyle Pitts. I think this year's draft, they also could have been in line for a quarterback as well, but decided to skip over for a player in the first round. I can't remember off the top of my head who that is, but I feel like that's what they could have done, and they didn't. And they traded away their quarterback, too. So they made the bed to lay in it with these two guys. So what happens from here, like he just said, man, who cares?
Oh, man. All right, moving along. Miles Sanders on the NBC Sports Phillies Takeoff with John Clark podcast. He said that he needs more opportunities when asked what he needed to get better at this season. Now, Sanders wasn't great last year. He did average 5.5 yards per carry, but he went the whole season without scoring a touchdown. And he had 20 red zone carries. It's for fantasy, he's got to be around the 5th or 6th round, and he's a starting running back. But in an offense where Jalen Hurts is going to see a lot of running work, or he could potentially continue to see a lot of running work, is Miles Sanders a guy that you want to target for fantasy?
I mean, seriously, I love Miles Sanders. I mean, Will, I think before he actually got drafted, I think me and you were both like big on Miles Sanders.
Yeah.
And I kind of agree with him. He needs more opportunities. But I mean, we're talking about a team that was like bullied by their fan base into running the ball more. The QB, the best running back on the team. And then he's nicked up the past couple of years. Yep. And although like his
12 games played over,
and he
12 games played over the last.
So he missed 9 games in the past 2 seasons, and he produces, but he's not an every down back. And like you just mentioned in the red zone, I mean Kenneth Gainwell is a better red zone option than Miles Sanders, and that shouldn't be the case. You know what I'm saying? He in Miles Sanders' 3-year career so far, he only has 9 touchdowns. Kenneth Gainwell has 5 already.
Is that right?
Season. So when you it's right. I check my numbers.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
So you talking about Gainwell's already more than halfway past Miles Sanders where he should be. So I mean, just looking at the facts, like you said, when he's in, he averages 5.5 yards a carry. I mean, I love Miles Sanders. I think he got potential to be a top 7 back in the league, but you can't be a top 7 back in the league without scoring touchdowns. And unfortunately, he's not going to get those opportunities because in the red zone, Jalen Hurts is a much bigger threat to run those balls in for 6 points. The same thing with Gainwell. Gainwell obviously has proven last season that he's a much better option in the red zone than Miles Sanders. So although I agree that he should get more carries, it's not going to happen. So like you said, around 5th or 6th round, Miles Sanders, he would be a good flex option, a great flex option. But that's about it. You can't have them starting in your fantasy team.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I'm thinking about speaking to my former self last year, because last year when I was going through the waiver wire during the season, I would prioritize guys like Jordan Howard over Miles Sanders in my league. And they're both available. I was like, well, let me go with Jordan Howard because he was getting more red zone touches than he was. And he would score. So he had that option. It also looks like between the 20s as well, a more dependable option was Kenny Gainwell as a pass catcher. And I know when I had you, Will, on for the show back with Thomas way back last week, we talked about a running quarterback taking away goal line carries from a running back.
Yes, we did.
R.E. Alvin Kamara. It's the same thing when it comes to Miles Sanders, and that's a similar problem. So not by intentional design are you taking away his touches near the red zone. It's just it's happenstance. We have a mobile quarterback who could score and who's a threat inside the red zone, and you have that going on. You said, I mean, as a joke, yeah, he's the best running back on the team at quarterback, but
I'm gonna say it's a completely unbiased opinion. But Jalen Hurts in the red zone might be the most dangerous quarterback in the league. Might be.
Aside from Lamar Jackson, yes.
Right? Outside of Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts
or
might be
and Josh Allen.
Let's put number 2. He might be the second most dangerous QB in the league, and as far as red zones. And when you have that option, I'm sorry, as a coach, why would I go ahead and get a ball to Miles Sanders when my quarterback can take it 20 yards and run it in? My quarterback can take it 3 yards and run it. Miles Sanders can't run. I don't want to say can't run between tackles, but in the red zone it gets real tight. And Miles Sanders, as it's shown, is just not built for that.
And you only mentioned the quarterback. We didn't mention Dallas Goedert. We didn't mention A.J. Brown. We didn't mention anybody else.
We didn't mention Gainwell. We didn't mention Boston Scott, who scores more than Miles Sanders. So, I mean, you have more options. It's unfortunate, Miles, but, I mean, you want to win or you want to – or
he's going to be looking for another team next season.
When we get paid, right? This is a contract year, correct?
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
So, I mean, he's right in what he's
deal.
saying, and I do agree with him. It's not going to happen in Philly. I mean, in the pockets or on the field, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Speaking of Alvin Kamara, he's bracing for a 6-game suspension. He was involved in a physical altercation during the Pro Bowl weekend in Las Vegas. He's being charged for assault and battery, both felony charges, and he's being taken to civil court for monetary damages. Now, we don't know whether or not he can appeal, when he can appeal, because everything is really Deshaun Watson right now. But that's a huge blow for the New Orleans.
Well, is there video of Alvin Kamara doing this stuff?
I would believe so. And
let me ask you this question though. If
it's video, then he ain't appealing that.
Yeah, he probably.
Let me ask this question though, because I'm unfamiliar with the details. Is it a case where somebody stepped to him and he did what he had to do? Is that what's going on?
I haven't seen
because that's how it was said at first.
Firm details about what happened. I mean, but to be charged for assault and battery and you being sued by civil court, I don't know if he's fully exempt from that kind of situation. I'll do a little bit more digging and see if I can get more detailed information. But on the surface, it's not a good look.
Yeah, but see, I'm gonna have to,
especially with everything that's going on.
But I mean, like you said, like it's tough. Number one for fantasy heads.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say it's tough, especially with the new receiving core they have. Michael Thomas, although I don't really care for Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry and Olaf. You got some receivers now, like take some pressure off of you. Kamara was supposed to eat, so those 6 games going to hurt. But I mean, when he gets back, when he gets back,
they're going to rev him up again, like they always do. But I mean, without question, if you're looking at a 6-game suspension, it happened at the Pro Bowl. That's a major mark for the NFL. That's their show and tell. So 6 games the event stemming from a Pro Bowl, you're looking at least 6 games, at least.
Yeah.
So
they might not take it easy on him. And speaking of your guy Michael Thomas, he's spotted running routes after being out with an ankle injury last season. He's played just 7 games since 2020, missed all of 2021 with the ankle, but his recovery is heading in the right direction per reports, and they really need him, especially Jameis Winston. But
what kind of routes?
He's going to be. He's not running in the video. He wasn't running slits. I knew that was going to come up.
Hey yo,
knew that was going to come up.
Set me a perfect gun.
He said, "Old slant boy was out there running."
I'm this to you and LP because I mean,
that was like D Wade and LeBron on the oop. Yo, thank you, man. Appreciate that. That was perfect. He caught the oop and threw it down. That's what's up.
Y'all ain't right. And then we'll wrap up the news with the Ravens. J.K. Dobbins, highly unlikely to play in the preseason. Kind of smart, especially since he got hurt during the preseason last year. Dobbins was limited in OTAs, just catching passes from the jugs machine. And the Athletics' Jeff Zerbiak reported that the that Dobbins' early season workload could be managed. They may just take it easy on him and ease him into the regular season, though there aren't any reports that are damaging his week 1 status just yet. So it's more of a wait and see approach for Dobbins right now. Hopefully he gets back into that lead running back role. Him and Gus Edwards are coming back from injury from last season, and Lamar Jackson does need a run game to help him out. But I mean, if you guys want to add anything,
it's not just wait and see for him. It's wait and see for me too, because I don't know. Well, it's not just wait and see for him. It's for me also, because I feel like even with J.K. Dobbins, we have to kind of realize with J.K., he is a higher draft pick, but they like Gus Edwards a whole lot too. And they kind of got by with a running back by committee. So it wouldn't shock for them to carry that same mantra going into the season, probably well into the season, having multiple running backs carry that load. So I'm not married to Dobbins early in the draft. So he might fall 8th round for me, 9th round. I'm not touching that early whatsoever.
Yeah, Dobbins' current ADP is at the 307 in PPR formats. So you're looking at middle of the third round for J.K. Dobbins. But Gus Edwards is going to be going much, much later. If the news isn't good heading into draft season, like whenever your league draft is, I would probably target Gus Edwards if I want a piece of that backfield. I mean, that's just me. I can't risk, Dobbins not.
I'm letting that one go, man. They had so many names run in and out last year. They had the Devontae Freemans of the world, Le'Veon Bells. That's a crowded backfield. And I don't think much will change. Even if the guys come back moderately healthy, I might be good.
All right, then I'm going to pull one of your moves, LP. You're looking at the third round. You're heading into the third round. J.K. Dobbins is there. Right. But who would you rather, Ezekiel Elliott or J.K. Dobbins?
Zeke.
Zeke.
No question.
Antonio Gibson.
No question.
Antonio Gibson or J.K. Dobbins? He thinking.
Oof,
he thinking.
That's tough. I'm taking Gibson though. And I'm taking the only reason why I hesitate with Gibson is that because McKissick re-signing really messed up his value for me. If there was no McKissick coming back on that roster, that ruined a lot with Antonio Gibson. And I believe they drafted a running back too.
Yep, so Brian Robinson.
It's kind of dicey, but I like Gibson's skill.
And then Ron Rivera, the icing on the cake on that real quick is Ron Rivera was like, we wanted that 1-2 punch that we had in Carolina. I'm like, no. I mean, it was cool, but you want Antonio Gibson to get the big workload, not share.
Kind of expected though.
Yeah, I guess. I ain't like it though.
Even having McKissick there, so long as McKissick is lurking, it ruins the value of that guy as a runner. Mm-hmm. And from a production standpoint, it kills it having McKissick even lurking around that team. So that sucks. And you know how Carson likes his running backs too. So in the passing game. So that's one thing to keep an eye on.
Yeah. That sucks. I was really looking at Antonio Gibson grabbing him a little, maybe an RB too, but I'm like, nah, I'm passing. If anything, I might target Robinson later on in a draft if I want to take a piece of that. But that'll wrap it up for the news. Now let's get into our main segment. Are you in or out?
Listen to me. Listen. Stop. I need to know what is happening right now.
Okay. You know what? Moving too fast. Bottom line, are you in or you out?
In or out of what?
No time for questions. Just action. In or out.
Okay. Well, then I'm out.
I'm sorry, Jet. Actually, you're already in.
All right. So, like we mentioned earlier in the outset of this podcast, we're going to go over some names that have really been garnering a lot of attention. For one reason or another, people are talking about these particular players. So we're going to jump right into it. And the first name on our list is Jacksonville Jaguars running back Travis Etienne. We know he got hurt last season. He missed all of 2021, his rookie year. But the Jaguars have a new head coach in Doug Peterson. Travis Etienne is known for being a substantially great pass-catching running back. And James Robinson is coming back from a torn Achilles. So the hype around Travis Etienne looks substantial. Like, what do you think? Because I'm in on Travis Etienne. I think that You add him with Doug Peterson, what his system likes to do with running backs. I want a piece of that.
And I mean, for the same things you said, man, I think the running back who was their workhorse before is now coming off a torn Achilles and probably will never have the same esteem in the franchise as he had before. So new staff, new system, coming off an injury, and a running back that fits well with what the coach likes to do now. Yeah, I'm buying Etienne for sure.
I'm out.
Yep.
Only because, like you said, he missed all of last season, and I know his pre-draft, his I just lost my train of thought, but I know, what he was good at pre-draft, his negatives and positives were, but I mean, he missed all of last season, so to assume maybe that he could come back and have the type of production, or Doug Peterson can help him. It's hard for me to say. I can't. I literally have no information to go off, so I gotta say I'm out.
Okay. Well,
only for
let me
for
give
now.
you this.
That could change, but for now,
Let me try and sway you real quick then, because I look at Doug Peterson when they got a running back in 2019 with Miles Sanders. He saw 63 targets and a 10.4% target share. Can you imagine what that could do with Travis Etienne, who may start the season with the backfield to himself if James Robinson isn't ready to start the beginning of the season, and you get you lead off with Travis Etienne getting the lion's share of the work right out the gate until Robinson is cleared to start. Like, that start right there could be great for Etienne. And then if you look at where you're getting him in the back of the fourth round at 412 in PPR formats, I like that. And I draft running back heavy, so that's my strategy. I'm just saying, like, Doug Peterson likes to get his running backs involved in the passing game.
okay. And this is my counter. And check me out, LP, because I'm always prepared, and I know my co-host so well. I'm always prepared. So I was prepared for that little rebuttal, right? So, who was the Eagles coach in 2020?
Doug Peterson.
Okay. And I like how you mentioned 2019 Miles Sanders, but you didn't mention 2020 Miles Sanders. Why is that? I mean, that was the last time he did coach, right? Right.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, 9.3 target share.
Uh-huh. So, and then the 52 targets and the 28 receptions, right? That almost more than half the time Miles Sanders was not available in a pass game. So, I know we all like to blame Carson, but Doug had a hand in that too. So to just brush his last coaching job aside, like you just did, and try to go back to 2019, no, I'm not allowing that. We're going to go off 2020, and we're going to look at what Miles Sanders did in 2020. Okay. And what he did in 2020 was by far maybe his worst season. So, like I said, I'm out because I don't have any information. Travis may not be Miles Sanders. He may not be half of Miles Sanders, especially because Miles Sanders didn't start off his career with an injury that made him miss an entire season. Travis did. He missed an entire season. So I can't – I'm not knocking y'all because y'all in, but I can't just assume because Doug Peterson's last job is what got him fired. And then this running back is also coming off an injury. So, again, I like your rebuttal. I'm out.
Say he needed evidence, though.
And I'll keep this short. That was solid. That was solid. Boom, boom. That was that was very good. But here's the problem, though. He said it himself. Travis Etienne may not be Miles Sanders. That could be that. I would stand on that. I would go as far as to say I think Travis Etienne will be a better pass catcher than Miles Sanders. But the work didn't really change between two seasons. He had 63 in 19 and 53 in 2020. That's still 9% or greater And then you look at the backfield that the Jaguars have. They don't really have much back there outside of Etienne and James Robinson. And then you look at Trevor Lawrence. He's gonna need to target those, Etienne out of the backfield. He's got a couple new weapons. He got Christian Kirk, but he's gonna need to get the ball out quick.
But
I think
see, this is the
offense
thing.
that
when we have these segments on In and Out, it's not just about Travis. It's about the whole team. It's about the O-line. It's about Trevor Lawrence. All that goes into Travis's success with the squad. A new coach, no O-line, and a second-year QB. And he's coming off of injury.
So we'll keep it short.
That lasted the whole season.
You're out.
So
I'm in.
That's right. Now, like I said, I'm not knocking y'all, but I just had to take account of everything. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. All right. So we'll revisit this midseason because
like I said,
yeah, we'll revisit this. We'll revisit this midseason. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep moving. I respect it. He leaving that window open to switch.
Yeah, I'm leaving that window open. You know.
All right. The next you buster. All right, the next names on our list is we were talking about the Kansas City Chiefs earlier, but Mecole Hardman and Marquez Valdes-Scantling. These two names in particular have been garnering news, especially MVS a little later on in the offseason. The reports were that he's really gelling with Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes is looking for a new deep threat, but Mecole Hardman is still there. What do you think of? Are you in or out on? Give me your I'm trying to say the word right. Perspectives on both. Are you in or out on Hardman or MVS?
Well, what are you? I mean, it only makes sense for you to give us your answer.
I'm out on Hardman. I don't believe. I know he was second in the on the team at wide receiver in targets, but he just hasn't produced enough for me to take the chance on him. He's more than likely going ahead of MVS and not Sammy Watkins. Any other wide receiver that's on the Chiefs right now. But I would rather go in on MVS and take him later on in the draft. Huh?
He stole my thunder, man. But yeah,
Juju's there too.
Juju
and I'm kind of shaky on that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, LP.
Okay.
I mean, when it comes to those guys, it depends on what it is. And look, if we just talked about quarterbacks and earlier, right? We talked about guys that we think are they're fantastic quarterbacks. They're great quarterbacks. We talked about how we perceive Aaron Rodgers, how we perceive Patrick Mahomes. Well, guess what? MVS is going to now play with both of those guys. And the one thing I knew about MVS, his whole career with Aaron Rodgers, he is feast or famine. No matter what you get out of him, he's a one-trick pony, deep threat, and that's all that you get. So I have a hard time even starting him in any of my leagues because I understand that with him, it's very hit or miss. Very hit or miss. I don't think him being a part of that particular offense is going to do much for his value. So I'm kind of out on him, even with Mecole Hardman. I have to trust more in Juju than any of those guys. So because of my just concern about them producing, even Mecole Hardman, I'm out on Hardman and MVS. Both.
I'm in, and I agree with everything LP said, but more so, I'm in because of Patrick Mahomes. I mean, we got an elite quarterback. It don't really matter who you put out there because he's that good. And with Tyreek gone and Travis Kelce getting extra attention, more likely those guys will, get a little less attention. Hardman, Valdes-Scantling, they may even see some single coverage out there. While Travis, gets the bulk of the attention. So I'm in because of Mahomes. So
I can respect that. That's solid logic. Tyreek Hill leaving behind that huge target share that he has is definitely going to be an alluring point for fantasy managers who are looking for that next thing that's coming out of KC. So, I mean, it could be Mecole Hardman. He's been there the longest. He's, had more rapport with Patrick Mahomes than any other wide receiver. And then you look at how many targets Tyreek Hill had last season, 159 targets and a 25% target share. That work has to go somewhere. It could be divvied up between all of them. I know they've made mention that, they're going to spread the ball around in Kansas City now. But Patrick Mahomes is going to have that guy that he's going to be relying on the most out of all those wide receivers. I mean, we've seen it over the last few years with Tyreek Hill being there. Who that next person is going to determine how big their fantasy value is going to be. So you're going to, if it's Mecole Hardman, Marquez or Juju, it could be any one of those guys. So you want, I think fantasy managers, you know what?
None of y'all mentioned Sky Moore though.
You know what's crazy? LP?
You're right.
Nobody.
You know what's
Nobody mentioned
crazy?
Sky
I
Moore.
was
No one
literally
said that,
thinking
right? Why
about
not?
him, but like I said, my whole logic was because of Mahomes, so I didn't even need to mention him. I actually think, and might be a hot take, but I actually think Juju, those targets that went to Tyreek, will go to Juju. That's only because, and I don't even think like Will, you said you said you think McCole will take that number 1 spot.
I mean, it's possible.
I agree, but Juju is once you put Juju in that number 2 spot, he's actually better. I would say it's actually Juju's actually better at the number 2 spot rather than number 1. So I think that workload might go to Juju. Could be wrong, but I mean,
I'm just curious what they want to do and how they squeeze out anything out of, let's say, you still got Josh Gordon lurking around too. So that's one of the options.
You don't have Josh Gordon. He'll
No, that's my dart throw.
I mean, but I'm saying though, like, but I'm thinking though, Sky Moore can jump in there and do. I mean, we all watched him, right? Yeah. I think every fantasy head, when they saw a receiver and they said, okay, this guy with this quarterback, like everyone's eyes went big, right? Like I think I was watching the draft somewhere, and when he was announced to the Chiefs, the entire bar went. Everybody did it. Right. Everybody did it. I'll never forget. I was at a bar in Portland, and I was watching the draft. And when they said Sky Moore to the Chiefs, the whole bar was like, like that's one to watch to me. So this is why I'm kind of low on those guys based on the experience. But there's one guy I think that can just jump in there right away and steal that ability to cross the field and take it 60, 70 yards. That guy right there. That guy right there.
That's what I'm really hoping for. I actually did a breakdown on Sky Moore for one of my TikToks, and I'm hoping that's the best case scenario for me. I don't even want to worry about Mecole Hardman. I would if I could pick anybody to come in and take that, it would be Sky Moore. It would be nothing but crazy to have a rookie come in and Patrick Mahomes just gels with him over all the other wide receivers. But if I had to, like I said, if I'm going to go with one of the names.
And this got to be a big year for McCole.
You're hoping because he's been there the longest, but
it got to be a big year for McCole because
they invested a number.
He'll be the next John Ross
but they invested a number 1 first round pick on Sky Moore. I mean, that to me that says we're good, but you're not that good. You know what I'm saying? Like you went and got 2 other wide receivers off free agency, and you still drafted a number 1 wide receiver. That's what it makes. That's what it looks like to me. That's why one of the reasons why I'm out on Mecole. But let's keep moving. We got another one on.
Right.
It's Tony Pollard.
It looks like all right, cool.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Tony Pollard is on the list, and the reason I bumped him on here is because there's a lot of talk of his role expanding. They want to use him in the slot. They want to use him at the same time as Ezekiel Elliott. We know how dangerous he can be as in the tandem. But if Tony Pollard can have standalone fantasy value this year, even behind Ezekiel Elliott, I want a piece of that. Like I'm in on the potential of Tony Pollard being used more in this offense.
I'm in with you. I'm more than enough in. It is not just the Cowboys bias, but all season, speaking about Cowboys fans, but all season we were clamoring for more TP, especially with Zeke getting that workload. And if we would have known or Zeke in that workload while he was hurt. But all as much as we were clamoring about Tony Pollard, still managed 719 yards on the ground, averaging a 5.5 yards per carry, and then almost 400 yards in the air receiving. And out of, I think he had like 46 targets, 39 of them catches. I mean, those are starter numbers. Tony Pollard definitely, especially this year, they're saying they're going to put him more so in the passing game as well. Definitely in. The only thing I would like to see more from Tony Pollard is scoring, but we know most of those red zone targets go to Ezekiel Elliott. But if the Cowboys were to use Tony Pollard more in the red zone, he might be a little bit more dangerous, actually. All that speed and that tight space, I think he might score a little bit more. But I'm 100% on TP.
Yeah, I'm with it. I'm definitely in to an extent, I think. So I'm in early in the season. I'm definitely in. Like, no questions asked. Because if you don't have Gallup to start the season, you're going to have to generate offense somehow. And they're trying to rely on Jalen Tolbert, a third-round pick, to jump in and play receiver right away. And receivers tend to take a while to kind of adjust, especially guys that are in the later rounds, to adjust to playing in the NFL right away. So for that reason, I'm going to take Tony. And depending on your league format, which you play, if you're also doing a league format that rewards kick return yards, he had 28 yards at kick return last year, a career high. So imagine the Cowboys, if they do happen to struggle on defense somewhat, that's at least maybe 100 yards of kick returns in the standalone on that alone. He's 5 yards to touch, I think, for his whole career. So more touches, more carries, more yards, and the guy can score from anywhere. So if you're in a big play league, 40 yards or more for a touchdown, that's your guy, especially early in the season. So I'm buying this guy 100%.
Yo, just a real quick point. So,
yep, his ADP right.
No, I was going to say just a real quick point. It's crazy. Miles Sanders is actually Tony Pollard, but in a starting role. At least I
run that by me again.
Tony Pollard is Miles Sanders in the starting role. Or like coming off the bench at least. Like he produces just as much as Miles Sanders does, and Miles Sanders starts. Tony Pollard comes off the bench. So the fact that we have and that goes back to the point that I was saying earlier with Zeke. You don't have to run Zeke. You don't have to break his knees in order to get production. Tony Pollard is more than capable of maybe taking the whole series while giving Zeke, some rest. Like, I mean, what did Miles Sanders end up with?
I believe that did happen.
Like 830 something yards. Like, I mean, Tony Pollard is doing the same thing.
Can I ask you a question though? Just want to throw this out there because I know we're all Cowboys fans here. So I put it on Twitter earlier today, and I said, "Would you pay Pollard ahead of the season? Would you pay him to stay with the Cowboys?"
I only got to hear the rest of it. I would.
Okay, Will.
Yeah, I want Pollard to stay. I would pay him if it's reasonable. Because you're not going to give him
my figure was $8 to $10 million a year. 8 to 10 mil. Yeah, I am.
Oh, yeah, I'm throwing that
If you're the Cowboys.
Yeah, I can do that.
I mean, you've already moved.
Because who else they going to use it on?
There you go. So listen, if the cap is projected to go up, you've already moved a Mark Cooper off for $20 million, and I think you're going to save $7 million with Lyle Collins. That's $27 million that you have excess cash to do whatever you want with it. And you don't have Parsons for 3 years. You don't have the two players, Diggs and Lamb, for about 2 years, maybe 3 with Lamb as well.
And plus, we know we're not doing anything in free agency either. So, I mean, you got extra money.
Of course. It's there. So, let's say a contract of okay. So, I believe Cedric Wilson got 3 for $24. Is that right in Miami?
I would do that deal for Tony Pollard ASAP.
There we go. And that's it. 4 for 32, whatever the case is. The guy has very low mileage on those tires. So it's not a bad look.
Right. So, Will, are you in on TP? You said you were in, right?
Yes, sir. An expanded role in the offense where, like LP said, you're going to be missing Michael Gallup for maybe the start of the season. Yeah, get him out there on the field. They needed to use him more last year anyway. But if you put him and Ezekiel Elliott on the field at the same time, and then you're using Pollard in the slot and he's catching passes too, that's great. And if you Imagine him in space and he breaks one for 40 or 50 yards for a touchdown. Ridiculous. I want that on my team if I can get him. And his
Etienne.
ADP is in the back of the
All
sixth
I'm saying
round.
is CeeDee Lamb, Tolbert, and Tony Pollard. CD, Tolbert, and Pollard with Pollard in the slot is going to that is going to be nasty.
It
That's
should
going to
be.
be nasty.
I just hope
It's
that
gonna
the
be
Cowboys are smart enough to get it done instead
who
of
next?
talking about it. Let's match these two up: Marquise Brown and Rashad Bateman. Marquise
nice.
Brown
Nice.
was traded to the Arizona Cardinals. DeAndre Hopkins may be facing a 6-game suspension. He's looking to appeal, so we don't know what the final results will be of that. No decision has been made as far as him being appealing. But Marquise Brown is going to start the season as the wide receiver 1 for Arizona. Rashad Bateman slides into Marquise Brown's role as the number 1 wide receiver for the Baltimore Ravens. Both of those roles hold substantially big target shares. Now, I'm in on both of them, especially since their ADPs put them later on beyond the 6th round. They're probably going to start climbing as people begin to draft, and more people are searching for options later on in the draft. But Marquise Brown with the Arizona Cardinals, I'm in on that, and Rashad Bateman with Baltimore, I'm in on that as well. Marquise Brown had 145 targets last season with Lamar Jackson throwing him the ball. He was second on the team in targets behind Mark Andrews. Give me all of that. I get a number 1 wide receiver later on in the draft, I'm taking it.
I'm in for Bateman. I'm in, and even Bateman last year, watching him when he finally was healthy. Because I'll tell the truth. I carried Bateman on IR on my roster up until he was healthy. I drafted him. I carried him the entire season because I knew when this guy played, they were in dire need of a receiver, and they were. He was a good deep threat. He's a very good polished receiver for a young receiver. He's got a lot of skills that you like. The ability to run routes, the ability to catch the ball underneath, and he's got a little bit of speed to get over the top of people. So I'm buying him 100%. I wasn't sure about Marquise Brown until you said it, though. If Hopkins is going to miss 6 games and they're bringing back some older talent there, like guys like A.J. Green, I think Ertz is still coming back into the fold, they're getting old fast, and they've just lost Christian Kirk. So,
Yep.
And I believe they lost Chase Edmonds, too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Chase Edmonds is in Miami.
So, yeah, based on the target shares and what you have available to you, it sounds like you – and I'm not a big fan of Marquise Brown, but for the target shares, you got to be in on that one.
Ace, what you got?
Not quiet over there. Both.
Oh, I'm out. Bateman, I'm not so sure. Maybe y'all talk me in and Bateman. I was already unsure about Bateman as it was. I mean, I didn't see enough production. Like you said, he was hurt. He was out on IR.
You're out on Marquise Brown.
Why? Tell me why. I know what you're thinking, but I know what he's gonna say. But just tell me why. Go ahead. It's the drops.
What I'm gonna say, LP.
It's the drops.
Yeah, it's the drops, and it's the drops. But it's more so of it's not even really more so. It's more so of I don't want to. It's just the laziness. I don't know how many games y'all watch. I watch a couple of the Ravens games. Obviously, when football is on, I tend to watch football. I've seen a bunch of Ravens games. It's just he doesn't put all into it, and then we're throwing Kyler Murray in there, and I don't know. Kyler Murray fell off towards the end of the season.
Yeah,
the playoff game was abysmal. I don't think Marquise Brown, and actually, this goes back to this goes back to our conversation because I actually did find an episode point on Gallup and Galladay. But this goes back to our conversation. I said then he's a playmaker, but he's not a difference maker. He's not going to make a difference. You draft him in your fantasy league. I don't think he'll make a big enough difference for you to draft him, especially within the first. Like, he's not that guy.
in a funny way, and it's funny because you didn't say it, and I don't know Marquise Brown from anybody, but in a funny way, both of those guys, him and Kyler Murray, are almost simpatical because it seems like there's a funny entitlement around both players.
Yes, and I didn't want to say it because I didn't want to seem like I was
no. Like I don't know them, but like in the case of you watch Marquise Brown, and not that this is Marquise Brown's fault because it's not. You watch him play, and there's a lot of Ravens games that I see too in my area. You watch him play, and you're like, how did this guy get moved for a first round pick? And that's what I look at. Then I look at Kyler Murray, and Kyler Murray is, again, he's a talented, like you say, he's a talented player. He's a playmaker. He's not a difference maker necessarily. Right. And the entitlement with him also is there. So you got two guys that don't really live up to the reputation that they have for what they're given for.
You got two cocky guys who haven't shown enough to be cocky. Marquise Brown, we see him, I didn't get enough opportunities, but bro, you were ranked 10th in the league in targets. You just didn't take advantage of those opportunities.
And so, as it goes, man, to whom much is given, much is expected. And guess what? Right. Brooklyn left me leaving more. Like, you watch Kyler Murray, you expect more of him, right? And
right. And I'm out for that reason.
I can see it. But I will say this: I'm higher on Bateman, though. I'm a lot higher on Bateman.
Right. Brown like I said, y'all sold me on Bateman. I'll go in on Bateman because literally I was on my notes. It says it. I'm unsure. I don't have enough information. But he cannot be worse than Marquise Brown. He showed some promise, and if that's what I got to go off, then yeah. Right, so I'm in on Bateman, out on Marquise.
I'm going to skip Najee Harris. I don't think that's a guy we really need to talk about when I thought about it. The only reason I brought him up is because there've been talk about his. That was one of the. Now that's a who cares because Najee's going to get the work. That's what Tomlin does. The only thing that I want to bring up is that. Yeah, the speculation of they were going to take his carries and give them to somebody else because they didn't want to run him into the ground. But there were conflicting reports on that. But Najee Harris is a goon. So DK Metcalf, though, I'm out on DK. You don't have a quarterback that can get him the ball. Russell Wilson is in Denver. He's not worth the ADP. Yeah, I'm out.
If I could show you my notes right now.
Please don't say me.
I literally have 3 words. It says out, all caps. No. It says out in all caps, and then it just has Drew Lock next to it. I wrote Drew Lock. That's it. There's no way you could be in on DK Metcalf.
Nah, his price is way too high.
Oh, you know what?
I'm in.
Come on.
You are in?
Wait.
I gotta hear it. I gotta hear
it. Wait. I'm in. I'll tell you why. He will be traded.
Oh,
I look. That guy cannot be happy. He wants a new deal. He's on a bad situation. He's not happy. If he's traded, he's going to a team that's going to use him and use him up good. I'm in. Yeah. If he's traded, I'm in. So with conditions, but I'm in.
Okay, I got it. Right. I'm out.
So he's out right now unless he's traded.
Yeah.
3 outs.
Yeah. Wait. How about this? 3 outs as long as he's on Seattle.
August, right?
Yeah, in August. Yeah.
3.
Right. 3 outs
as long as he's there. Right. We out.
Yeah. All right.
We out.
Now, we can wrap up the show on these guys. The Broncos wide receivers: Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, Jerry Jeudy. I'm in on all 3. That's the kind of effect that Russell Wilson gives me when I'm looking at this wide receiver core.
Exactly. I was going to say, I don't even have to explain it.
I think all of them are going to be viable. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a very good, these are breakout, comeback, whatever you want to call them, candidates. Like, they finally have a quarterback that can get them the ball, and they're going to be fantasy relevant for sure this year. And the ADP is not bad. Like Cortland Sutton.
Which one the most though? Because, I'm thinking of which one is the most I would be in on. And actually, you know what? The player I'm the highest on the most on that team, believe it or not, is none of these guys. It's Javonte Williams.
None of them?
That's the one guy that I'm the highest on is the running back.
Okay.
I like them.
If I had to pick between the wide receivers,
who I like the most is Javonte Williams. You know what? It's funny. I kind of like Courtland Sutton.
You're not worried about Melvin Gordon getting in the way?
No, I'm not, because Javonte can give you both. Javonte has the speed, power, and can catch the ball in the backfield. Melvin Gordon is a good option. He is a good option, though. But there's a lot to like about Javonte Williams. But at these receivers, man, I'm going to circle Courtland Sutton. The size, the red zone ability. And Tim is a good one, too, though, because Tim can definitely catch the ball down the field and score touchdowns. That's what he does. And I believe Jerry's got something going on off the field, correct? There's something with Jerry, right?
He just had his case thrown out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was having some baby mama issues. And he got arrested, but it was for DV, but it wasn't for DV. Like it was more of a precaution as to why they arrested him, but everything's been cleared.
The NFL wheel of justice is always spinning, so we'll see what happens there. But if there's a guy, like I said, I like, if I'm ranking them in the order that we have, it's right. Courtland, Tim, then Jerry. But I do like the running back out of the backfield.
I can't argue with that. I'm really in on Courtland Sutton.
And you guys are good with Albert O too, right?
I'm not with Tim Patrick there. I think a lot of work will go.
And overall, the Broncos are going to be a good team, man.
Yeah, that we can agree on. I'm not sure about Albert O with the kind of wide receiver core that Russell Wilson has now. He may be able to hit all those guys and make them substantial. Albert O could probably benefit, but I think there's other guys that I would take over him. Just saying. But, I mean, Ace, if you got anything else you want to add, you good?
No, I mean, I agree. I'm in. I don't need to say nothing else. All I heard was Russell Wilson. I was already in.
All right, let's close it down. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy's Finest podcast. LP, plug yourself one more time before we shut it down. Where can they find you? Twitter, YouTube?
Yes, sir, fellas. Y'all can find me on Twitter at SDQ Flight Crew, over at the EliteWinners.com at LP Cruz, on YouTube at Stonehall Sports Talking Cowboys content all day. Actually, a little sneak announcement. I got a new thing dropping tomorrow, a new trailer dropping for a new podcast, not Cowboys related, on the channel. So definitely going to be a fun time as well.
No, we waiting to check that out. And you can follow us too at Fantasy's Finest across all your social media: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok at Fantasy's Finest. You can also follow us at hype_finest and at black_Moscato. So thank you for listening. We appreciate all our listeners. Make sure you leave a review on Apple. Give us some stars. Show us some love. We always appreciate the critiques. And this too will be ending up on YouTube. So all our people who may be listening on YouTube or who are just coming in, thank you for checking us out. We will check you out on our next episode. So until then, peace.
Thanks for listening to the Fantasy's Finest podcast. Be sure to join the community on Facebook and follow us on Twitter too at the Fantasy's Finest. See you next episode.